Welcome back to Dark Night Crimes, the podcast where we dive deep into the mysteries that keep us up at night. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm George. Today we're covering a case that has absolutely baffled investigators for nearly 2 decades now.
That's right, we're talking about the disappearance of Maura Murray, a 21-year-old University of Massachusetts Amherst student who vanished without a trace on February 9th, 2004.
This case has everything, Elizabeth. Strange behavior in the days leading up, a mysterious car accident, conflicting witness accounts, and theories that range from tragic accident to something much more sinister.
Exactly. And what makes this case so frustrating is that there were so many warning signs leading up to that night. Maura was clearly going through something difficult in the days before she disappeared.
Right, so let's start with who Maura was. She was a nursing student at UMass Amherst, described by friends and family as intelligent, athletic, and really ambitious.
She was on the track team.
Exactly, she ran track and cross country. But in the weeks leading up to her disappearance, something was clearly bothering her. Her behavior became increasingly erratic.
Yeah, and this is where it gets really weird, George. Just a few days before she vanished, on February 5th, Maura was working her campus security job when she received a phone call that left her so upset, her supervisor had to walk her back to her dorm.
Right, and to this day, no one knows who made that call or what was said.
It's so frustrating. Then the very next night, February 6th, she crashed her father's car after apparently drinking at an off-campus party.
Now that's interesting because her father, Fred Murray, drove up from Connecticut to help her deal with the car situation. They spent the weekend together, and he said she seemed fine to him.
But clearly she wasn't fine, because here's what happened next. On February 9th, Maura sent emails to her professors and her work supervisor saying there had been a death in the family and she'd be out for a week.
Which was completely fabricated.
Exactly. There was no death in the family. Then she packed up her dorm room, taking most of her belongings, withdrew nearly all of her money from an ATM, and drove north toward New Hampshire in her father's damaged car.
And this is where the mystery really begins, because around 7 p.m. that night, her car was found crashed on Route 112 in Haverhill, New Hampshire.
Right, so let's walk through what happened that night. A local bus driver named Butch Atwood was driving home when he saw Maura's car had crashed into some trees.
Around 7:15 p.m.
He stopped to help and saw a young woman at the car. When he offered to call police, she insisted she was fine and had already called for help, which later turned out to be untrue.
Yeah, and Atwood said she seemed composed but distressed. He went home and called 911 anyway, which was smart of him.
Absolutely. So police arrived at the scene around 7:45 p.m. But here's the thing. Maura was nowhere to be found. Her car was still there, airbags deployed, but she had vanished.
In less than 30 minutes, and Elizabeth, what they found in the car makes this even more puzzling.
Right, there was a considerable amount of alcohol in the car, wine, Kahlua, Bailey's, and some of it had spilled inside the vehicle, suggesting she'd been drinking.
Which could explain why she didn't want police called if she was intoxicated and worried about getting in trouble.
Exactly, but here's what doesn't make sense. Her personal belongings were missing. Her backpack, her cell phone, her debit cards. If she just wandered off after an accident, why take all that stuff?
Good point. And there's another detail that's always bothered me. There was a rag stuffed in the car's tailpipe, which some people think indicates the car was having mechanical problems.
Yeah, that could support the theory that she was trying to get away from her life and the car breaking down was just bad timing.
So let's talk about the theories, because there are several compelling ones. The first is that this was a planned disappearance.
Right. The evidence for this includes the fake family emergency email, packing up her dorm room, withdrawing money, and the fact that she was looking up directions to ski areas in New Hampshire on her computer.
It suggests she planned to go away for a while.
But then the question becomes, did she plan to disappear permanently, or was she just trying to get away for a few days to clear her head? And what happened after the crash?
The second major theory is that she wandered into the woods and succumbed to the elements. It was February in New Hampshire, after all.
Yeah, temperatures were below freezing that night. If she was disoriented from drinking and possibly a head injury from the crash, she could have easily gotten lost in the wilderness.
But extensive searches of the area never found any trace of her, which is puzzling.
The third theory, and probably the most disturbing one, is that she was picked up by someone with bad intentions.
Unfortunately, this is entirely possible. A young woman alone on a dark road could easily become a victim of an opportunistic predator.
What makes this case so enduring is that nearly 20 years later, we still have no definitive answers. No body has ever been found, no credible sightings, no solid leads.
And the investigation has been plagued with issues from the beginning. The scene wasn't properly secured, evidence may have been compromised, and there were communication problems between different law enforcement agencies.
Exactly. And Maura's family has had to fight for years just to get basic information about the investigation.
What's your gut feeling about this case, Elizabeth? Do you think she's still out there somewhere?
Honestly, George, I think the window for her being alive has probably closed. But what happened to her that night? I genuinely don't know. Part of me thinks she might have planned to disappear, but something went wrong.
I lean toward the theory that she encountered someone dangerous after the crash. The fact that her belongings were taken suggests to me that this wasn't just someone wandering off into the woods.
Whatever happened, this case shows how quickly someone can just vanish. Maura Murray's disappearance remains one of the most haunting, unsolved mysteries in recent memory.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Maura Murray case. Next week, we'll be covering the strange disappearance of Brandon Swanson, a case with some eerie parallels.
Until then, keep your doors locked, trust your instincts, and remember, the darkness is always closer than you think.